morning, Internet friendos, and welcome to another episode of Life According to Joel. Now, yesterday's episode was all about opposite sex friendships and relationships. And the inspiration for that episode, I was moving out of my apartment, and when I moved to Vancouver, I promised myself that I would make more friends, that I would work on my relationship skills, and so I had made an episode that focused a lot on how all my friends abandoned me when my dad was fighting cancer and my grandparents died, and I had a really hard year and everybody just went bye-bye. And then I chose not to release that video because I got really emotional and I got broken up and I cried and I named people's names, and it was just a really negative episode, and I figured that I would rather do some more positive videos and of course be more respectful and not name anybody's names. And so yesterday's episode was on female friends, because the main friend I had at that time was a woman, but I also had male friends who also went poof. And so I thought I would take today to do a video about same-sex friendships and the difficulties that I, as an autistic person, have even with same-sex friendships when there isn't any sexual tension, when there isn't any romantic interest involved. And so to start this video off, I'd like to point out to the fact that I have had a couple long-term same-sex friends back in Abbotsford. Justin, who I've known since preschool, and Will, who I met in high school, and I've had a couple good friends. They didn't really follow me to Vancouver, and I haven't really seen them much, but I thought I would play this reel anyways to give them credit for being amazing. Play reel. So you'd think that same-sex relationships would be easier than opposite-sex relationships for me, right? But they aren't really. To help illustrate that point, I did dress like this. And one of the things you'd be thinking immediately when I'm talking about same-sex relationships, dressed in a suit and tie, trying to look all seductive and shit, is that I would be sending out vibes. And I did this intentionally for this video, but I don't always do it intentionally. I do send out a lot of vibes unintentionally, and that's because I'm not really good at communicating non-verbally, and I'm not really good at thinking about the way that my actions are going to be perceived socially, and it actually is a lot of work for me to do. And it's also a lot of work when you can't read body language or vocal tones, even with neurotypical men, because neurotypical men still communicate about 93% non-verbally, and I communicate pretty much 93% verbally, which in opposite sex relationships comes on way too strong because I'm communicating way too verbally, and then in same-sex relationships, a lot of stuff just goes over my head that I miss. So I'd like to give you an example. So I had this friend, and we had been friends for 16 years, and he hated his grandma. His grandma was a chain-smoking, racist bigot. He did not like his grandma. He'd always complain about his grandma every time we hung out. Like, he did not like his grandma. And so one day his grandma dies, and he didn't even go to the funeral. He just did not like that woman. She is an unpleasant woman to be around. And so a couple months passed, and one day, about 3 months after, he just blew up on me. And it turned out that he actually took the passing of his grandma really, really hard, and I hadn't picked up his nonverbal cues at all. And I didn't realize he was struggling. I didn't see anything, to be honest. And he called me an asshole, several other things, because it had gone completely over my head, and I had gone completely on what he had verbally communicated, which was he hated his grandma. And so it was really hard to repair that friendship because unfortunately he was really pissed off about that. but that was not my fault. And so when you can't communicate non-verbally very well, and you're bad at picking up social cues and stuff, you're also often very naive. And so, like, when all my friends went poof, when my grandparents all died and my dad fought cancer, and they all just abandoned me because I guess I was negative and they don't like negativity or something. There are a couple friends that stood by me, one being Matt Richards. We've gotten birthday drinks every year for like the last 6 years, ever since VFS. We go out for birthday drinks every year. I get him a drink on his birthday, he gets me a drink on my birthday. It's amazing and it's a great tradition. I have my friend Sean Lang, who I see once in a while, and my friend Mike Berube, who is now my roommate. We hung out every once in a while, and then I had another friend who actually I thought was one of my closest friends because we hung out all the time. But it turns out, so about 2-3 years ago, he started really harassing me out of nowhere, and I wasn't really sure what happened because we had been friends, and then suddenly he just started blowing up. Now, he had wanted to sleep with this woman who was a friend of my love interest a couple years ago, and I guess either she told him that I was in love with her, or he told her that I was in love with him. Somehow it came out that apparently I was in love with this woman, who I was barely even friends with, and I had hung out with absolutely not even once outside of work. I had pretty much no interest in her at all. And so he got really crazy, and he started harassing me. And he started sending me these Snapchats about killing that woman that he was interested in, which really messed with my head and really got me pissed off, because even though I don't really care about the woman, and we're not even really friends, you don't talk about killing women. That's just not fucking cool. And then he started harassing me on a regular basis with Snapchats and texts, and it got increasingly worse to the point where I was on set one day and I had to throw up. Because he talked about giving a woman an abortion and some other shit in his bathroom, and he just said some really fucked up shit. And so I ended up filing a police no contact order against him, and then he violated it, so I had to file another police no contact order against him. And that just goes to show you how bad I am at reading nonverbal cues, because I had thought that guy was my friend. And because verbally he had said that he was my friend, I trusted him, and unfortunately that trust was misplaced. And when you can't read body language and vocal tones, it's really, you're relying on the other person's verbal communication to be honest. And unfortunately I had been naive. And so these last few years I've had a really hard time trusting people, because unfortunately there's a lot of two-faced fake people out there. And this last year, I've sort of opened up more, because I got onto DC Legends, and DC Legends, my crew really was my family for about 7 to 8 months, I think. Yeah, about 7 months, because I came into the show like a month after we had started going to camera. And some of my closest friendships that I've managed to form, and I've sort of opened myself up a bit more because they are film family. And I was able to make some friendships, and at my birthday last year, I actually had people show up at my birthday, and yeah, so here's a reel with some of my friends I've made in the last year. Play a reel. Yeah, so in this past year, I've opened myself up a bit more to having more friends and trying to make long-lasting relationships. And part of that is film family. So we have this saying in the film industry called Film Family, and Film Family are your crew, and they have your back, and you guys work together for like 7 to 9 months, so you really get to know each other, and it's a lot more easy for me to make myself vulnerable and become friends with people when I'm seeing them for 7 to 9 months. And I've also found that a lot of the people in our industry are extremely open-minded, kind, compassionate, and caring people. And so on DC Legends, I really met my new group of friends who I hang out with quite a bit. My friend Adam and my friend Jason are both from my AD team on DC Legends, and I'm friends with the producers on Facebook, and I'm friends with the ADs, and I'm friends with the directors, and I'm friends with pretty much everybody from that because they are family. And so now I'm really opening up more. I had people who actually showed up at my Christmas party this year, and I had people who showed up at my birthday party this year. Whereas the last few years, I haven't really had anybody show up at my birthday party. And I've thrown myself a birthday party since foster care. Because of course when you come from having your mom throw you a birthday party and then nobody throws you a birthday party, so you throw yourself a birthday party. And a few years ago, like, nobody showed up. And my team on The Exorcist at that time, they took me out for a birthday party because I posted on Facebook that I was at go-karts, and I had all these go-karts rented, and I had the whole thing put out for my birthday, and not a single person showed up. Well, one person showed up. My good friend Josh, who I've had since I was a kid, but nobody else showed up to my birthday, and it was really harsh for me because all my friends went poof after my dad got cancer and my grandparents died, and nobody came to my birthday, nobody came to my Christmases, nobody came out to anything. They just like all disappeared. But my film family has shown up, and so my friends Adam and my friend Jason have helped me quite a bit. And my friend Brett Joliffe, who I met on Lucifer, has helped me quite a bit. And so I have friends again, and I'm trying to like open myself up to having more same-sex relationships as well as opposite-sex relationships. Because of course there are areas where male friends come in real handy, where female friends don't always come in handy. One of the big ones is when a female friend gets married or has a boyfriend, they're not going to spend as much time with me because of course it's going to make their partner uncomfortable, which is completely understandable. So it's great to have those guy friends to like hang out with. And I think going forward, I'm going to try to open myself up to more same-sex friendships, but as well opposite-sex friendships, and just actually friendships in general and relationships in general, because it's something really hard for me to do. So yeah, thank you for watching this episode of my vlog. Have a great day!